One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. That's not a quote, it's a revolution in 17 words. She was banned from going to school, shot in the head by the Taliban. But instead of silence, she chose a microphone. Today on BookLia, we tell the story of Malala Yousafzai, a girl from Pakistan who defied fear and became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate in history. This is based on her international bestseller, I Am Malala. Let's begin. I Am Malala, the girl who stood up for education and was shot by the Taliban, was published in 2013, just a year after the attack that nearly took her life. Co-written with journalist Christina Lamb, the book is part memoir, part history, and part manifesto. It opens with the sound of gunfire in a school van, and unfolds into a brave and unfiltered story of childhood, faith, family, and activism under the shadow of extremism. We hear Malala's voice clearly, funny, honest, fierce. She writes not just about the Taliban, but about her love for books, her father's influence, the beauty of the Swat Valley, and her journey from a remote village to global stages. It's not just the story of survival, it's the story of how a voice grew louder after being nearly silenced. Malala was born in 1997 in the Swat Valley of northern Pakistan, a place of stunning mountains and rich history. Her father, Giauddin Yousafzai, was an educator and school owner who believed girls deserved the same rights as boys. From an early age, he taught Malala not just to read, but to speak. She grew up reading textbooks and delivering speeches. She loved TV shows, cricket, and poetry. She wanted to be a doctor, or a politician, or both. But then came the Taliban. When Malala was just 10 years old, armed extremists took control of Swat Valley. They blew up schools, banned girls from attending classes, and spread fear like wildfire. But Malala refused to disappear. At age 11, she began writing an anonymous diary for the BBC under the name Gul Makai. In it, she chronicled what life was like for a girl who wanted to go to school in a war zone. Her words sparked international attention and danger. By 15, she had become the face of girls' education in Pakistan. And on October 9, 2012, a Taliban gunman boarded her school bus and shot her in the head. The bullet hit her left temple and passed through her shoulder. Most thought she would die. But Malala didn't die. She was flown to Birmingham, England, for emergency surgery. Days later, she woke up, unable to speak, but alive. As she recovered, something incredible happened. The world rallied. Global leaders condemned the attack. Millions sent prayers. Her story was broadcast everywhere. And Malala, true to form, used the spotlight not to seek revenge, but to amplify her mission. Malala co-founded the Malala Fund, advocating for education for girls worldwide. In 2014, at just 17 years old, she became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner in history. She gave powerful speeches at the United Nations, met with presidents and royalty, appeared on Time's most influential people list. And still, she remained herself, humble, humorous, fiercely focused. She later studied at Oxford University, earning a degree in philosophy, politics, and economics. Today, Malala continues to fight for girls everywhere, to be educated, safe, and heard. Here are 5 fearless lessons from Malala Yousafzai. 1. Your voice is your power. Malala Yousafzai didn't have money, an army, or a massive platform. What she had was a burning desire to learn, and the courage to speak when it was dangerous to do so. At just 11 years old, she began blogging for the BBC under a pseudonym, sharing what life was like under Taliban rule in Pakistan's Swat Valley. Books were banned. Schools were bombed. Fear ruled the streets. But Malala's words broke through the silence. When the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. Her diary entries traveled across continents, shaking the conscience of a sleeping world. She wasn't shouting, she was simply telling the truth. And the truth echoed. The lesson? Don't underestimate your voice. Even when you feel small, even when you're scared, your voice can be bigger than fear. Speak up, even if it trembles. The world is listening. 2. Education is a human right, not a privilege. While others were fighting for control, Malala was fighting for classrooms. Where others saw danger, she saw opportunity, to write, to learn, to rise. She stood up for the idea that education is not a gift, it's a right. I tell my story not because it is unique, but because it is the story of many girls. Malala knew that millions of girls were being denied education simply because of their gender or location. She made it her mission to change that. And it wasn't about textbooks, it was about dignity, freedom, future. The deeper message? Education is more than school. It's the key to self-worth. It's power. It's how you reclaim your identity and rewrite your destiny. 3. Fear is real, but so is bravery. Malala doesn't pretend she wasn't scared. She was terrified. She had nightmares. She knew what the Taliban was capable of. And yet, she still walked to school, still gave interviews, still spoke her truth. Until one day, they came for her. She was just 15 when a gunman boarded her school bus, asked for her by name, and shot her in the head. But they didn't silence her. They amplified her. They thought that the bullets would silence us, but they failed. And out of that silence came thousands of voices. Her survival was a miracle. But her decision to keep going, that was pure courage. The takeaway? Bravery doesn't mean you feel no fear. It means you show up anyway. You fight anyway. You speak anyway. 4. You're never too young to make a difference. Malala was blogging when most kids were still figuring out their favorite color. She was confronting extremists before she had finished high school. At 11, she was documenting life under tyranny. At 15, she was attacked for going to school. At 17, she became the youngest ever Nobel Peace Prize winner. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't wait to be older, richer, more experienced. She just started. The lesson? You're never too young, or too ordinary to matter. Change doesn't wait for age. It waits for action. 5. Forgiveness is a form of freedom. You might expect Malala to be angry, to carry hate for the men who tried to kill her. But she chose a different path. She doesn't want revenge. She doesn't want them punished. She wants their children to be educated. I don't want revenge on the Taliban. I want education for sons and daughters of the Taliban. That's not weakness. That's the strength to break the cycle of hate. To choose healing over bitterness. Peace over vengeance. The deeper message? Forgiveness doesn't erase pain, but it releases you from it. It gives you back your power. It clears space for peace. Malala is still writing her story. Through the Malala Fund, she supports education for girls in over a dozen countries. She continues to speak on global stages, challenge leaders, and remind us that one student's voice can echo across the world. She's not just a survivor. She's a symbol. A living reminder that courage, when paired with purpose, can transform bullets into books, and silence into change. So what part of Malala's story moved you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if this video inspired you, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our weekly book drops. This is BookLia. One book, big insights.